What is the matter with you, piece of junk? Anger. That is the subject for today. This is funny actually because I've taped this thing 3 times and actually that's what I was yelling at the mic earlier, because every time I would test, the mic would be fine, and then I go and I video, I do the whole thing, and all of a sudden I hear this tee on the background. It just drove me nuts. It's almost like, okay, the enemy just got me, trying to get me aroused because I'm talking about anger today. Anyways, in the past I talked about divisiveness. Divisiveness because of voting first, and then the mask and the vaccine and woke and critical theory and LGBTQI. So I don't know what's going to be next that is going to cause that division among us. And another problem is the fact that the media, as well as the social media, have created more and more polarization, even among us friends, to the point that we cannot talk about social issues or politics without getting aroused, without getting angry. And that's not right at all. I heard a good metaphor before about anger. It's like having a child in the car. You don't want him to drive the car because that will spell disaster. And at the same time, you don't want to push him in the trunk because it's going to give you all sorts of other troubles. Anger results from unmet expectations, whether it is broken trust or broken promises, or even outside circumstances that really victimize us. And when that happens, we have this volcano that is ready to erupt inside of us. Anger is like a seed that is dormant inside of us until something causes water to actually make it grow. Some people say that it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So why in the world would we want to grow something that we know is not good for us, or even drink poison? Because I think that sometimes we feel entitlement. Sometimes we think that it is actually good for us to hang on to those feelings. And yet these feelings often cause us to feel enslaved to the offender. And yet we let these things grow, we let this thing flourish because we are broken. And in our brokenness, really what we're screaming for is justice. That's really the bottom line. However, in James, again, we read that there is only one lawgiver and one judge, the one who gives life and who takes it away. And he says, who are you to judge your neighbor? And yet we do that. We can do it in many different ways. I don't want to go too far down on the profiles, but you have the explosive type, the one that you would yell and scream and throw insults. And then you have the other kinds that is a little bit more quiet, repressive. He puts everything down and will give you the silent treatment, or actually would seek revenge because he's holding resentment. I'm reminded actually of a story that happened to me. A friend, or I thought was a friend, asked me for some help because he wanted to take a company public, and in order to have this IPO he needed some big invoices. So I took in a friend from TaylorMade Golf and we did a contract for about $48 million, and that made the IPO. And my friend made many promises prior to this IPO. And then when it came to it, he was not a man of his word at all. And actually he came to the point to say, Peppo, sue me if you want these things. And was just unbelievable. I mean, all of a sudden I'm going, what is the matter with him? I just wanted to kill the guy. So all of these feelings actually that I had toward him were actually enslaving me. Every time I thought of him, I would get this sense of anger that was just boiling inside of my veins. And it wasn't until I realized, you know what? The Lord says that vengeance is his, Romans 12. And I started relinquishing that to him and saying, oh, Lord, you please take care of this because I can't. And it was miraculous, truly, because all of a sudden I had this feeling of peace inside of me, and I had compassion toward the guy. I almost pitied him because he went down Skid Row and all of a sudden he lost all his friends. The company tanked, it was just a disaster. But all I'm saying is, if we go back to the Word, even during these times, He always gives us the answer. Even James 4, at the very beginning, says something. Let me read it to you. What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You desire but do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God, and when you ask, you do not receive because you ask with the wrong motives, that you may spend it on your own pleasures. So see, it goes back to that, your own pleasures, your own desires that have not been achieved, and that creates that sense of the volcano erupting, as we were saying earlier. Anyways, next time I want to address a few issues that can help us with those sensations and feelings. And I want to address some other issues like be angry and do not sin. What in the world does that mean? So until next time, sit tight and I'll see you in a week. Ciao.